Imagine waking up in a foreign city of a foreign country, all broken inside. How do you put the pieces of your life back together? Where do you find hope? And why would you even look for hope anymore? For Brett Swayn, it was a supernatural encounter with the divine. But was it really just the miracle from above, or did he also play part in it? Find out on today's episode of Waking Up in America. I'm Tai Chi. At 19, I was a superstar, and I was lost inside. I left it all behind, switched continents, and started all over. Years later, I found myself lost again, this time in the American dream. This is a story about awakening, about living the life you were created for, about going inward and discovering the joyous and purposeful person you and I are both meant to be. This is Waking Up in America. A viewer from Louisiana caught our Christmas special show and sent us an email, and this happens quite a bit, saying, I didn't know this channel existed or your show, but I stumbled across it and I needed to hear the message of Brett Swayn. God met me at the address, the end of the rope. So thank you for being our guest on Waking Up in America on Christmas and today too. Thank you.
Thanks for having me back.
So you're from Australia originally?
Yes.
Yes, we love Australia.
Okay.
But before we get into the deep stuff, Brett, you're a chef and a CEO at the Cookery. Why don't you introduce it?
The idea is basically to reintroduce life and hope into the lives of men that have fallen into homelessness or have lost their way. Primarily men right now. Eventually we'd like to reach into the lives of women and troubled teens.
So you teach them how to cook, how to restore their lives.
Yeah, we give them the idea that they're going to be cooking and learning the trade of the culinary, but while we're there, we're dealing with the relationships and the things that break us.
Yes.
And trying to introduce the tools and the life skills and relationship that will repair that areas.
And we'll get into that in a moment. But since you deal with food, what's your favorite thing to make?
You asked me that. I think I really like the texture and the artistry of a dish that we call our Cajun fish lettuce wraps. It has a few elements. Yeah, it has a coleslaw. It's very fresh. It's low on the carbs, high on proteins, and high on the veggie count. So they just look beautiful. No, Devin will make it.
Okay, great. So Cookery, by the way, is in Nashville, Tennessee. So we'll have the web address you can visit online and just look at the pictures. And when you visit Nashville, absolutely visit the Cookery. Okay, take us back to Australia. Give us a little picture of you growing up there.
Oh gosh, I didn't know anything different. So it's kind of a little rough, a little colonial, like people expected. And I ping-ponged between the city and the country. In the country, you're running around with bare feet, and the rocks are really, really hot, and it's a sign of manhood, even though you're only 6 or 7 years old, if you can run as fast as you can between shady tree spots, because your feet just burn. It's crazy. That was in a place called Exmouth, and that's up on the northwest tip. And I spent most of my formative years in Perth, Western Australia.
Okay, so why did you come to America?
Back then, I actually thought that I was going to be a musician.
You are a musician?
Yes, but a different kind now.
Okay.
Yeah, back then, growing up, music, when it entered into my soul, it made me feel something I'd never felt before. And I thought, that's what I want to do. I was actually studying to be a pilot. I wanted to be an Air Force pilot.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so you flew to America. Now you're in...
I landed in LA.
Okay.
And what's that beach? Venice Beach. And it was really, really wild. I came to seek music, and
so
it was...
how did you... So you're doing fine, right? You were chasing your dreams, no?
No.
Did you have any success as a musician?
No. Within 2 weeks, the money was running out, and someone got intervened. Someone said, you should go to the Third Coast, Austin, Texas.
Okay. Yes.
And so we went to Austin, Texas, and within a couple of months being there, someone said, you play music? I said, yes. And they said, well, it's going to take you, I think, about 8 months to get going. We're like, we don't have 8 months. But that's how long it actually took, for 8 months for us to start playing music. And in between, I was working like at the door at the Steamboat in Austin, Texas, and different places. So it took a while.
And all of this now takes you to a place where Wow, what happens?
Well, we formed a band and a cover band to survive, and we're playing original music. So to get from Austin, Texas, I met someone. You're really unpacking. I went from Austin, Texas, and I met this girl who said, I wanted to help you in your music, and the only way to do this is to get married so you can become legal. And I really struggled with that. But she said, it's just a business thing. And I went, okay. And it's hard to talk about this because I was a different person then.
Yes.
So it's putting
but also
on...
you were also chasing your dream that which you really believed in.
Yeah, it was all about the dream. It was all about, because if I just made it, I could look after my mom. People would like me. I would have a voice. I would be okay in life.
Yes, but in a lot of us, that's how we do get affirmation.
For me, it was a place where I thought that's where you found life. Here is life in this thing. And rather than using it as an expression to express life, it was life itself.
Yes, so you were stuck in the idea that what we do defines us and defines our worth. When we come back, we'll talk to Brett about what was his turning point that shifted him from that stuck place into the life of service, joy, and purpose. We're talking to Brett Swayn, the co-founder of the Cookery culinary arts training facility in Nashville, Tennessee. So at your lowest point, tell us, what was the pain that you were stuck in?
After leaving Austin and landing in Dallas and continuing to chase this idea of what I thought I was supposed to be and supposed to capture in life, the dream, it all collapsed. It all collapsed. The ideology of who I thought I was, it couldn't sustain itself.
Yes, I love that you said the ideology of who I thought I was.
Yeah.
And so what happened that turned you into who you are created to be?
I became the monster that I never thought I would be. Yeah, just that idea of, oh my gosh, everything that you do not like, here it is, who you are. It is one of the hardest moments, I think, for anybody to look in the mirror and see the monster. And not
Tell
be
me
able
about
to
the monster.
The monster, I had cheated. I had become an adulterer. I had lost everything. I had broken every sense of integrity that I thought mattered to me. Just the moral collapse. The moral collapse of a person looking in the mirror and not being able to turn away. You had to look straight at it and you weren't allowed to turn away.
Why not? Why couldn't you take drugs or distract or just go back into the cycle?
It just never occurred to me to be an option. I was already there. I felt like a car that had come off a cliff and the steering wheel was in your hands but it had no traction. And it's this panic, this sense of panic. And I felt one morning this unction to go look for a Bible. I didn't even understand what that meant. And I had never read one. I didn't even know we had one in the house.
Why Bible?
I don't know. So I go to this, I find one in the house and it's this big, huge big one. And I open it up and I'm reading it and it's terrifying me. And it's literally reading me as I'm reading it. And I'm going, how is this possible? Because I open up to the red writing section. I don't even know what that is. And as I'm reading, how is this possible that this guy from 2,000 years ago is reading me?
And he's reading the monster parts.
Yes.
He's reading about your...
Where I'm at. He's going, this is where you're at. This is
the
who
end
you
of
are.
that rope.
Yeah, absolutely. But then there was the promise. This is the forgiveness that was being spoken of, and then the restoration. And that car that felt like it was off the cliff suddenly felt at least something underneath it, just not letting it crash yet. Something was holding it up.
Yes.
But it didn't get easier. I lost everything.
Yeah. So would it be like you're starving, you're hungry, and there's a promise of food?
The Bible became like that. I was just famished for it.
Okay.
But that came later. At that point, there was this utter desolation. There was this awakening where I would lay in bed at night and I would beg for the dawn to come because there was so much pain that I couldn't stand the slow ticking of the clock. And then I would wake up in the morning and I'd go, oh, let it be better. And it wouldn't be better. So I would beg for the night to come. This is the truth. And then I read about it in Jeremiah. I was living the things that I was beginning to read. It was leading me.
But we all do. That's why you're right. It's reading us. This is because we all go through these moments. And so you are desiring, longing desperately to wake up to a dawn that's different.
Yeah, I was begging for forgiveness and hope. I remember I would for 7 months I began to read this book.
When did you experience that miracle?
Yeah. For 7 months, it felt like my world disappeared in water, my tears. I lost everything. And every day I would wake up and pray for hours, 4 or 5 hours a day, weeping. I would read the book. I remember in the Psalm 51 where he's talking about your enemies will be footstool for his feet. And I remember imagining, I put my face on the ground and putting Jesus's feet in my imagination on my back going, it's me. I'm your enemy, just bawling and bawling for 7 months, begging for forgiveness.
You know, most of people out there, we're all praying for a miracle. We're all expecting a fairy, you know, a list of, okay, you just do this and this and this, take this course and you'll be successful. Your life will be, you know, and here you are experiencing the miracle in the making, right?
Yeah.
It's a process.
And
in that process, you were active.
Yeah.
You were working pretty hard.
I was seeking. I was praying. I was looking for anything. And I remember something would happen in my life, and then I would read about it in the Bible. I remember one morning early, we'd come through the winter in Dallas, and I was standing in this place where I prayed. It was actually in a gym, and I remember hearing the sound of a bird. And see, the whole world had become like cardboard. I'd lost all feeling. I could look at the color and I felt dead. And I remember standing in this gym and hearing a bird song, and joy entered my heart. It was like, oh, and I cannot explain that miracle, but I remember the joy of the bird and that it was foreign, and yet it was like spring in my heart. And I remember an audible voice said, the war is over.
Yes, because you connected, you opened up and you connected, and the bird hearing it and allowing yourself to hear exactly the flow.
Yes, it started to come back. Yes. But not all the circumstances changed.
Well, they don't usually, and we'll come back to that, what Brett did now that he is awakened, but life around him is still having some hard things in front of him. If you feel stuck in your life right now and would like to create your own turning point, learn how these episodes and the stories of guests featured here can help you. In my book, Turning Points, I break it all down for you, and I offer some guidance in the interactive sections at the end of each chapter. Visit wakingUPrevolution.com to purchase a signed copy or download an ebook at Amazon.com. We're talking to Brett Swayn, who had this amazing turning point going from a dark, dark place and awakening and working through your desire to experience joy, and finally you're now breathing air again.
Yes.
And then working through the pain. And then it doesn't let up.
No, the circumstance didn't immediately change, no.
Right. So then you moved to Nashville.
I was prompted to come to Nashville.
Okay.
But when I had the experience with God entering my life, one thing he didn't give me was I was going to experience homelessness. I thought I was coming to Nashville for a whole different reason. It's kind of like God says, you'll understand later, you know, that when Jesus said that. So I'm coming into Nashville on the Greyhound, and I see downtown they had the Lifeway building with a cross, and I was so comforted. I didn't know who was going to meet me. I didn't know anyone or had no money, but I see the cross in the middle of the city of Nashville. And in all the places of America, he sends me here. I spent the night in the Greyhound, not knowing what to do. In the morning, I met a homeless guy. He tells me, come to the mission. I'm rejoicing because he says, you can eat there, you can sleep there, and it's just around the corner. I've got no money even for bus fare. The mission, wait, isn't that something you do overseas? It didn't matter. I was going, I was happy. So I get into the mission, and I see, as soon as I walk through the gates, homeless men in dirt and despair and loss. And I said, God, what are you doing with me? I'm going to die here. And the homeless man said, let me show you where else the homeless hang out. He took me to the library park. So that's on Church Street. I go to the library and I'm praying. I'm up in the religious section reading a Billy Graham book. And he's not speaking. He's not saying anything. And then the voice of the lady says, the library's closing in 15 minutes. And I was done praying. I closed the book, I put it up in despair, and I said, I'm hungry. It wasn't even a prayer. And I walk outside of the library, and back then they had columns. As I'm exiting the building, and I see on one of the columns an apple. And I was so excited. An apple, I'm hungry. I walk over to the apple, and as soon as I touch it, he speaks audibly, and he says, why do you worry about the little things? And scripture came in and says that I know your needs before you ask. The way they're entwined, I cannot explain.
Once we're on the other side, we see how the pieces of the puzzle really make sense.
Yes, but for me, the experience of going through homelessness, I couldn't have sustained for a sense of life if it had been that I knew my God saw me in that place.
Oh yes, I believe that.
So that gave me the strength.
Yes.
But there was no sense of safety net. And I think looking back now, obviously that's my ministry. But you cannot minister from piety. You have to minister from compassion.
Yes.
And you have to know what it feels like to be able to minister to those who are going through something. So I often tell the guys what feels like a pit. When God shows you the way out, you look back, it's a well, and you draw mercy and wisdom and knowledge. You're able to refresh your soul because you know how they feel. I can't minister in all areas, but I can minister to those who feel abandoned, to those who feel like they're on the streets and no one cares, to those who feel invisible, to those that feel so broken by their brokenness that they don't know where to turn. I know how to do that. And it's only not by volunteering, because I wouldn't be brave enough. He allowed the experience. People go through these experiences, I really believe, when they're God-centered, to be able to give life to someone else from the life they receive.
To get out of that stuck cycle that you're not even aware that you're stuck.
Right.
And a lot of people, a lot of us look and say, well, maybe it's the system, maybe it's this, maybe it's that. But to have your compassion, it's
a learning thing. He says, go learn what these things mean.
Don't we all wish that we could just get a 5 little thing or 10 little lists to check. And even if you have a list, it doesn't work. When we come back, we'll ask a few more questions and meet a very special guest.
Are you planning a live event? Looking to bring inspiration and a fresh approach to wake up your community or organization? Tai Chi's keynote concerts are transformational experiences that lead your audience to a life of joy, authenticity, courage, and purpose. Book Tai Chi for your next event now by visiting wakingUPrevolution.com.
We're here with Brett Swayn and a very special guest, Devin. Well, thanks for being here. So you're one of Brett's friends.
Yes, I work at the Cookery. I'm in the discipleship program. This is part of the culinary program.
Wow, how did you find your way to the Cookery?
My mother is very involved with the Nashville House of Prayer here in Nashville, and I was at a very low time in my life, and she knew some people who were involved with Brett and told me I should meet him and talk with him.
And you're so young to have this beautiful turning point, and I'm so grateful that you've had it. You were on the bottom.
Yeah, got into a very bad relationship. I'm from North Carolina. I followed the girl out here to Tennessee pretty much, and it lasted about a year, and everything turned upside down. I jumped into a liquor bottle and found myself for the first time homeless, broke, jobless.
So why did you listen to your mother?
Because my mama knows God.
Oh, that's so beautiful. And I'm sure there's going to be lots of mothers that are going to be very touched. But there's a lot of kids that don't want, last thing they want is listen to their mother telling them, go pray.
Well, when you spend 28 years purposely doing exactly the opposite of what she tells you to do, knowing at all the time that you should be doing it, when you finally get to that spot where you're ready to change, you know where to turn.
I mean, the openness of the heart to say, yes, I will listen to the voice that has been there all the time.
Yeah, knowing that you're in a safe place like that, finding out that when people don't move, even sometimes trust is earned when even those that inflict wounds upon you sometimes and you don't move, they know where to come to.
Yes.
As a place of safety.
Very important, because you can have the nudge, you can have the awakening, you can have the listen, you can have the mother, and then you have again nowhere to go. And that's where I think we all need to do better. We need to create more places where we really show up and say, here, Devin and John and Mary, come. We want you here.
And that's where it's happened. I think once you need trust to be able to assault the wounds that have assaulted you. And Devin obviously is in a place where he is able to be honest because he feels safe enough to be honest. And not just safe enough amongst, our community, but safe within himself.
Yes.
Because he can be honest, which creates its own safety.
Well, because also there's a sense of identity. Yes. You know that our worth is not what we do or how successful we are, but our worth is because we're all created children of God. Yes. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you. All right, Brett. One-word answers. Your biggest challenge?
Love.
Ooh, biggest fear?
Love.
Most grateful for?
Love.
Your comfort food?
Oh, oatmeal.
What was the last picture you took with your phone?
Oh, I don't know.
Good. Who do you want to help the most?
The broken.
All the world needs is?
Love.
If I could abolish anything from the earth, it would be?
Hatred.
Okay, you prefer locally grown or exotic food?
Locally.
Salad or soup?
Soup.
Sweet or savory?
Both.
East or west?
West.
Oceans or mountains?
Oh, that's one word, isn't it? Both.
City or country?
Oh, both.
Ballet or opera?
Opera.
Okay, good. And this sentence, I believe in?
Love.
This year, you claim?
Light.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you so much. This was fun. This is Brett Swayn. And now, introduce the song for us. Tell me where it came from.
I remember, since he's given back music, it's taken away from the idol of it, and it's gone into this sense of worshiping the one that's giving the music. And I remember just free-forming the lyrics. And a lot of times when we write lyrics or we write the songs, I get a picture or I get a melody or I get a phrase. But this time, as I'm writing the music, I just free-formed it and the verse wrote itself. And as I was listening back to it in shock, I was weeping. I was just weeping from the music. So the song wrote itself.
Yes.
I just was there.
And the song is perfect for this show about turning points because it's move from your stuck place, move into the light and the flow of love and grace. Brett, thank you so much.
It's an honor.
Has anybody ever had their fill? Has anybody ever took the pill? Has anybody ever just walk away, lost their heart or things to say? Can't take another, can't break further, oh, can't change the color, move. Has anybody ever lost their place? Is anybody ever want to erase? Can't take another, can't break further, oh, can't shake, won't let you move. Hope won't let you down. Faith will keep you on solid ground. Love's coming to rescue you. Love's coming to see you through. Love's coming to help you move. Oh, move. You got more than you thought you had. You more than you thought you were. Don't stop believing. It's way more than a feeling. You can move. Oh, move.
It's your turn now. So don't be just passive audience. Help us to bring more stories like this. Go to patreon.com/wakingup and pledge a monthly contribution. You will help us to create more episodes, and you will also receive perks like cool stuff and backstage footage. But most importantly, you will be making a difference in the world. And then visit wakingUPrevolution.com for more stories like this one and share them with the world. Thank you so much. See you next time.
I'm Olga Alexeyeva. I'm the artist and owner of O Gallery. This episode was filmed at my studio at Marathon Village, Nashville. Please visit us at ogalleryart.com. Thank you.